Welcome. As you know, we're on a webinar format, so I'm going to go ahead and allow all of our guests to join us before we get things started. Looks like guests are still popping in, so wait another minute or so. Okay, looks like the numbers have slowed down a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and kick things off. So I want to welcome you. My name is Anna Marie Tejas. I serve as the Director for Parent and Family Programs at the University of Arizona. More importantly, I'm a parent of a third-year Wildcat. I also have a daughter who's going to be an incoming freshman that will join, hopefully, your students this fall. So I'm thrilled that you've carved out some time this afternoon and want to welcome you to our coffee chat. So really quickly, I want to run through run of the show. As I mentioned earlier, this is a webinar. We can't see you, we can't hear you. So to maximize your experience, if you hover your mouse towards the bottom of your screen, there's going to be some functionality buttons that pop up, and you have the Q&A button. If you click on that, a dialog box will appear, and you have the option to type in any questions that you might have at any time. I have colleagues who are working on the back end of this webinar who will help answer those questions for you. So I thank you all for being here today, and we're going to go ahead and get things started. So first off, I'd like to introduce my colleague, Kevin Hall, who serves as the Senior Director for Recruitment and Marketing in the Honors Village. Kevin's going to share resources and information specific to the Honors College to help you learn more about what it means to be a student in the Honors College and prepare for that fall enrollment. I'd also like to introduce Roger Arevalo, a proud Wildcat parent of Sabrina, who's in her second year at the University of Arizona. And Roger is also an advisory board member for the Parents and Family Association. Sorry, I'm a little behind on my slides here. So there's some pictures of Roger and his family there and Sabrina. Roger, Kevin, I appreciate you both taking the time to join us this afternoon. I'm going to ask you just a few questions and we'll go back and forth in a conversation and go from there. So Roger, I'm going to kick my first question out to you. So when you and your family and Sabrina were looking at other colleges in her senior year of high school, can you share with us what that moment was like when she realized that the University of Arizona was the school for her?
Actually, she was chomping at the bit, so much so that we actually did most of our visits over her junior, between the junior and senior year. And actually, the University of Arizona was the first college that we visited. And it was interesting in that originally, you're going to take this journey with your kids, and it ultimately has to be their decision where they go. But it's an exciting and fun journey that you take with them. Obviously, that whole thing about it takes a village is true when finding the next step for them in their education. So we actually did visit the university first. And amazingly enough, I was kind of already sold on U of A because of all the good things that I'd heard about it, but it did set the bar pretty high. And we did end up visiting some pretty well-established, well-known private universities like Gonzaga and University of San Diego and Baylor. And ultimately, nobody even came close to the bar that U Arizona set for us when we first visited.
Nice, thank you. Kevin, I have a question for you, and then Roger, I'll ask the same question of you after Kevin's done answering. I often receive questions from families wondering why the Honors College and how their student might benefit from it. Can you share with us why?
I sure can, Anne Marie. That'd be my pleasure. There are so many great reasons for students to be part of the Honors College at the University of Arizona. And I think some of the biggest reasons really come down to the type of personalized attention that students are able to get through honors. We really have some amazing faculty and staff who are there to work with our students. We offer smaller classes. So most of our classes within the Honors College are 15 to 25 students. Most of those are taught by professors. So our students really get to know the professors, they get to know their advisors, and they get to know their peers as well. You may know already that we have this brand new hub and home that is kind of right behind me here in the Honors Village. So that is a great place for students to develop their peer network, to get to know those faculty and staff who are there to help them, and really experience some of the additional opportunities and resources and support that are available to them as honors students. So it's not really about extra homework and extra papers. That's not really what honors is all about. It's really about helping our students to make the most of their 4 years on campus so that when they graduate, they're able to go out and do whatever it is that they want to do for that next step, whether that's medical school, graduate school, going into the workforce. It's really about the opportunities that we have and the connections that students can make through honors.
Great, thank you. And Roger, the same question for you. Why the Honors College for Sabrina?
Well, obviously, if the people that are on this virtual chat and their kids meet the criteria for the honors program, they obviously have worked really hard in high school to kind of exemplify themselves and make themselves a little bit higher tier than your typical student at a high school. And what I've known of my daughter in the fact that she's always kind of tried to overachieve is that if she's put into a program that's kind of just a normalized program, she tends to kind of fade off. Most of these kids need that kind of closer attention, and they want to engage with professors. They want to get to know their professors. They want to be highly involved. And I think that's the one thing that we were blown away with by the University of Arizona. We saw the original honors dorm, and we were taken aback by that. And I remember the gal, I think her name might be Jenny, but I can't recall. It was a few years back. She said, well, if you think this is pretty impressive, just wait till you see the new Honors Village. And I have to tell you that when we pulled up to that building and moved in for that first day, we were ecstatic. We were floating on air, and we knew that we had made the right choice, or she had made the right choice for her next, educational adventure.
Okay, I'm going to piggyback on something you mentioned, Roger. You said Sabrina is a high achieving student. Can both you, Roger, and Kevin also share with us what are some of the resources that she utilizes to stay connected or to assist her with her studying?
Well, I mean, just from a standpoint of a facility, it's an amazing facility. There are study rooms available to the kids everywhere in that dorm. Their counselors are there. A good majority of their honors classes are there. They have their own cafeteria. There are facilities for doing laundry on the floors. The rooms are impeccable. They're just well thought out, and they're just beautiful. And then again, you go across the way, and there's a 3 or 4 story, I can't recall, rec facility for them. And there's Shake Smarts there. I mean, and the parking lot's there. So, I mean, it's almost like being in your own private little college within a bigger university. So you still have that experience of a very, established D1 school, but you're kind of in this little mecca that's been specially formulated for kids that are honors kids. Kevin?
Thank you.
And yeah, I kind of want to expand on what Roger was saying there a little bit, because in addition to the really great physical space and the amenities that we have, I think that the fact that we have the entire Honors College housed within the Honors Village. So yes, the Honors Village is a dorm for over 1,000 honors students, but it's also where you find all of the Honors College faculty and staff. So when students have advising appointments, when they want to meet with an honors professor, when they want to go talk to someone about scholarships or internships experiences or getting involved in research, those folks are right there within the Honors Village. But I do also want to say that students are not required to live in the Honors Village. That is a great option for students who are looking at living on campus. But even for students who are not living in the Honors Village, you're still going to have classes there. You're still going to meet with your advisors. You're still going to come and talk to professors there. And we're still doing events and activities throughout the entire year for all of our honors students there, not just the residents of the building. So although it is obviously a great facility for the students who are living there, even for students who are not, who are in the Honors College, it's still a major part of their experience at the U of A.
Yeah, the university has done a really good job of kind of thinking of everything that would be necessary for these kids to be successful and just put it right at their feet. It's top to bottom. It's an incredible program.
Thank you. I appreciate you sharing that, Kevin. I had noticed a question came into our chat asking that exact same question, if students are required to live there. And I know that there's a lot of activity happening there, but they are not required to live there. Can you share the distance between the campus or our main campus and the Honors Village, what that looks like?
Sure. So the Honors Village is sort of the northwest corner of campus. We're right by the Eller College of Management. We're on the north side of Speedway, but when you go under the underpass, we're right there by the College of Fine Arts. We're just down the street from the Medical Center. If you were walking from the Honors Village to the Student Union, kind of the middle of campus, that's about a 12 to 15-minute walk. So definitely not a far distance. And by bike, it's 5 minutes tops to get pretty much anywhere from the Honors Village. So still very much in the thick of things.
Right. It's pretty doable. I agree with that. And I know it's a bike-friendly campus, and our students are not required to cross through major traffic because of the underpasses. And there's some other great options that we can chat about a little bit later on transportation that's available to our students. So let me go through here. You talked about resources. Kevin, can you share with us how students should be, or what they should be doing to prepare now in March for the fall semester, especially if they're looking at the Honors College?
Sure. So I would say that from the academic side of things, the things to do to prepare are don't stop now. Just keep doing what you're doing in school. Keep applying yourself in your academics and your classes. So that's probably the most important thing, because we want to make sure that our students are coming into the fall semester ready to go, charged up with that great academic background that they all have. As far as other things to do from a logistical standpoint, so things that students should be doing right now are checking their Next Step Center, making sure that they're getting through those requirements to pay their enrollment fee, to do the housing application. So those are some important things. So one of the things that I'll just mention really quickly, because it does pertain to the Honors Village specifically, is the housing application. So we want to make sure that students are submitting their housing applications if they want to live on campus and if the Honors Village is going to be important to them. So when you submit that housing application, there is an application fee that goes along with that, but that's the thing that really kind of helps determine your when you're selecting your hall. Now, when you do the housing application, that's not when you're picking your hall. It's not when you're saying, I want to live in the Honors Village. That happens a little bit later in the spring. I think the housing assignments will start in early May. And if anybody needs to correct me on that, please feel free to do so. But that's when students will actually select where they want to live. So the housing application just says, I want to live on campus. And whether you know where you want to live or not, that doesn't really matter at this point. You're saying, I know I want to be on campus, and that's the thing that kind of gets you in that process right there. So that's probably one of the most important things there, along with paying that enrollment fee and signing up for orientation over the summer.
A quick follow-up to that, since you mentioned housing, can incoming freshmen live in their own suite? What does that process look like?
So there are multiple types of rooms within the Honors Village. And we have suite style dorm rooms, which are either 2-person or 4-person suites. So the way that works, in the 4-person suite, you have 2 people in one bedroom, you have 2 people in another bedroom, and those 2 bedrooms are connected by a bathroom. So that is 4 people sharing a bathroom, but with 2 bedrooms. The single suites are basically the same thing, but you have 1 person in a bedroom, 1 person in another bedroom, and then those 2 are connected by a bathroom there. So those are really private bedrooms with a shared bathroom. Now, the suite style rooms are really available to our first-year students, but for students who are second, third, or fourth-year students, they can opt to live in the apartments in the Honors Village, because we do have 2-bed, 2-bath, and 4-bed, 4-bath apartments. But we're looking for those more for our upper division students who have already had that more traditional dorm experience in the suite style dorm rooms. But so that's really kind of how the housing is set up in the different room types. Does that kind of answer that, Anna Marie?
It did. I saw a couple of questions come in, so I thought I'd follow up since you were talking about it. Roger, can you share with us ways that Sabrina stayed involved and engaged, like clubs, groups, or organizations? What did she do to connect on campus?
Yeah, obviously there are different things that the Honors College requires your child to be a part of there. But she also, her first semester, she was part of Blue Chips, which kept her a little bit busy. And then she just recently this year decided to pledge, and she joined the Theta sorority and has loved that experience as well. Obviously, that Greek life is quite an important thing there on the U Arizona campus. And basically, her studies have kept her pretty busy. She went in as a nursing major, and 2 weeks in, met some medical students that convinced that she needed to be a doctor. So her plate's been a little full. So she kind of had to back off a little bit about blue chips, but she's taken advantage of that gorgeous rec facility that she has across the way, because fitness is something that's always been a big part of her life. She used to compete competitively in karate and actually did represent the United States and Ecuador at the Pan Am Games. So fitness is important to her. So and she's met a lot of good people through that. But just the interconnectivity that the kids have being at the Honors Village, and the kids being of the same sort of ilk and wanting to be and participate in their school is kind of how she's really stayed busy, to be honest with you. Now with the sorority and her classes and whatnot, she is pretty busy, and needs to learn how to manage her time. But there are so many different things that I could also list off, but I'd be here for too long.
I appreciate you sharing that she's able to stay involved, stay connected, and then keep a mindful watch on what she was passionate about before she started here on campus.
Absolutely.
And staying healthy and fit. So, Roger, you have the great experience that your daughter was able to move into a dorm, not the Honors Village, but what was previously known as the Honors Village, and then the Honors Village. So you've had 2 move-in experiences on campus. Can you share what that looks like? Or your experience?
So we were the inaugural class into the Honors Village, and so the one thing that the university does really well is I thought they've been very communicative in terms of what it is that's going to happen. But sometimes I'm a bit of a skeptic, and they told us, okay, your time to move in at U of A freshman year is at this time, and you go to this lot, and then you'll be allowed in to move in. And and this is obviously before COVID, so we had all hands on deck. We were ready. We organized our car in a manner that we could unload it really quickly and figure out where everything was at, so then we could get it up to the dorm room. We pull up, they check us in, we pull up, and then a sea of team members kind of just came around our car and said, okay, can you please get out of the car? Let us unload it for you. They unloaded it. They labeled it. My daughter went and checked in to the dorm. We in turn went over to, I think it was the First Street garage, and parked. We came back, and when we came back, literally it was only 20 minutes since we were gone. There's my daughter, and all her stuff is in her dorm room, ready to be unpacked. I mean, it was an amazing, amazing experience. So much so that my wife and I were ready to sign up for the University of Arizona and go back to college, because we thought this is amazing. And then the other thing that I can say about the university is that they've been very adaptive. I think in terms of handling our current situation as well as they could, is when we did move back in, obviously there was a bigger period of time to move in, a larger window so that you could accommodate everybody into the dorm and not have crowds. Then again, we didn't know what to expect, especially with everything with COVID being so like, what's happening this hour? We got there. It was really easy to find out where we had to park. We were able to unload close by. There were ample bins for us to have to move our stuff in. And then they even had people there that would watch your stuff, because they realized, okay, somebody's going to move the car away. All the stuff's going to come out, and you're probably not going to be able to get it all in. Although the university did ask that you bring the bare minimums, but with the girls, sometimes that can be a little harder said than done. So after 3 trips, we made it into the room, but still, it was really well organized. We never felt like there wasn't enough materials there for us to get our moving done. We got her moved in, and obviously because of COVID, we didn't linger. We said our goodbyes and we're off. So both events were really different, but both left us leaving like they know what they're doing here. Our daughter's safe, and she's going to have the best experiences she's going to have, even though it's COVID.
Well, I appreciate you bringing up the pandemic. Can you share with us some of the ways that Sabrina stays connected during the pandemic, connected and engaged? Is she able to connect with other students? Is she still able to do some activities on campus? What does that look like?
Yeah, I think, what I've been basically monitoring the updates every week since the inception of the updates and the committee that was formed with Dr. Carmona and Dr. Robbins to bring the kids back to the campus. And, you know, I felt like they communicated really well what needed to happen and how it needed to happen. And Sabrina and the kids also get that, you know, that update. And there are apps now in place that can help them, you know, kind of maneuver through this pandemic. I think what she's done, and I think what most of us done, is we've kind of developed our own little safe circle of people that we can, you know, we keep in touch with, and it's kind of been down to her close friends, but she has been able to adapt to the virtual classes, and she does have one in-person class right now that's a lab that could not be done any other way, but there's screens in place, there's protocol in place. She can go to the gym, obviously, you know, mask up, wash up, like Dr. Robbins always says, whenever you get in and out of a place. And so she felt that in order to be successful in school, she needed to physically be down there, and we agreed with her 100%, because distance learning is fine for some people, but if you want that experience, then it's important to be on campus. And I have to say, with I think a 0.01 whatever it is transmission rate, she's probably safer on that campus than she would even be at home. So you know, and she still meets, you know, with her sorority, albeit most of those things virtually. She still picks up her food at the sorority that she gets from them, and she's still able to move around the campus as well as possible and take advantage of the facilities that are open to her and the clubs that she attends, albeit virtual, and if in person, very, very COVID protocol, and is moving along really well at the university. I mean, she's actually, for COVID, has enjoyed her sophomore year almost as much as that first semester of freshman year.
That's great to hear. And Kevin, I'm going to ask the same question to you, just because I've seen it come through a couple of times on the Q&A. What resources, even if they're virtual, are we offering to students during this pandemic? How are we staying engaged and connected with students?
So within the Honors College, we're really taking great pains to stay connected with our students, and we're doing that in a variety of ways. We're still doing the same volume of advising appointments. We're still proactively reaching out to students to make sure that they're doing okay, to make sure that they have the resources that they need. Every week we send out an email to all the students in the college with different opportunities that we have coming up over the next couple of weeks, whether those are for social events and activities, whether they're for new scholarships, opportunities for research or internship or service learning. So we're really in communication with our students on a pretty regular basis. And now that we're starting to kind of come back onto campus a little bit more than we have been over the last year, we're also able to see some of our students in person now a little bit too, which not a lot, not all the time, but it's still really great to be able to have some of that personal contact again that we haven't been able to have over the last couple of years. And as things get better and better with COVID, we hope to be doing more and more of that. So still lots of ways that we're interacting with those students.
Great, thank you. I feel like our time is flying so quickly. So a couple of updates that I just wanted to share. Roger, you mentioned the weekly briefings that President Robbins and Dr. Carmona share to anyone on a weekly basis. So what I'd like all our guests to know is anyone can log in. I will add it to the chat right now. It's a link, and you can go back and watch some of the briefings that they've hosted in the past. But I think that's a great way for anyone to hear updates on what classes might look like this fall semester. Those announcements always come first from President Robbins, and then we roll it out to the campus community. So I'll make sure that that link is shared in the chat so that you can continue to monitor it. Yes, Roger, you have something.
I just want to say, as a parent, it's very comforting to know that the 17th Surgeon General of the United States, Dr. Carmona, is on that committee, and it doesn't hurt to have your president also be a very well-renowned doctor as well. So, if I recall correctly, I know that there were several universities and news outlets that reached out to the University of Arizona to kind of see what they were doing, because we were kind of setting the bar in terms of what needed to be done in order to get your kids back safely to a campus and keep them all safe.
Thank you. I know it's great. I listen to them weekly and learn a lot from them and agree. I think they have great expertise, and I trust the decisions that they're making to keep us all safe. Okay, Kevin, I am wondering if you could share with us, there's been questions in the chat about the Honors Village, people asking how they can see it virtually. How would our guests be able to take a peek at this beautiful facility that we've been talking about?
So there is a brand new way to get a peek into the Honors Village that we actually just finished up last week and debuted for the first time. So we actually have a brand new 360-degree video of the Honors Village where you can actually see different spaces and use your mouse and keyboard to kind of look around in the lobby, the classrooms, the courtyard, the dorm rooms, lounge space, office space, 85 North, our dining facility. So it's really an immersive way for you to get a feel for what the Honors Village is like. We're still not able to do in-person tours, and we're hoping that those are going to be back at some point soon. But for the time being, that's going to be the best way. We also have another video that's going to be posted very, very soon over the next week or so on the U of A YouTube page and the Honors College website as well, where you can actually go in and have a student guide you through a quick tour of the Honors Village as well. So that one we're just putting the finishing touches on. But those are the best ways to really get that insight. And that virtual tour, the 360 tour, is a great way because you can really kind of personalize what you want to see and how long you want to stay in a space. And I think we have the link over in the chat for that. The 360 video is the last link in the chat right there. So definitely check that one out.
And I've added to the screen a couple of options. So in the chat, we've downloaded a PDF that has links to everything that we've discussed today. We also have this QP code on the screen. So if you're using a laptop and you have your cell phone in front of you, you can open up your camera and download the links to your phone as well. And I know I wanted to also share our contact information and just do a quick run of events, just because I've been reading the questions that have been coming in. Great questions, by the way. As for events for the fall semester, we have not received any notification about family weekend events, if they're going to be in person, what that looks like. But I invite all of you to go to the website right underneath my name, uafamily.arizona.edu, sign up for the free membership. As soon as I'm notified about any events or family weekend dates, what the fall course schedule might look like in person, not in person, we will be emailing all of our members for the Parent and Family Association. So I encourage you to sign up. It will ask you to link yourself to your student. And the reason that we do that is to make sure that you two are connected, or you three, however your family looks. And in case of an emergency, we would be able to get in contact with our parents and family members. The second thing I wanted to mention, the link will be in the chat about the weekly briefings that Roger mentioned. And you can look up the dates and the times on the main social media website at University of Arizona. And they're usually Mondays at 10 o'clock, but if there's a change, they'll announce it on the official Twitter page. Roger, I saw you put your hand up. Did you have another question or comment?
No. I just sent you a quick chat, so.
Okay. Before, we have a couple of minutes, so we have some extra time. Roger, what is one piece of advice that you would share with the parents, family members, and students that are listening today?
I think just be as much involved as you can with your child's decision and journey in terms of where they're going to end up going to school. And obviously, I advocate highly for the University of Arizona. Like I said, we went up against some other schools that we thought were definitely going to perhaps sway her out of the state. But at the end of the day, the resources that are available to her through the Honors College and just the university in general, I mean, really, just for what we have at that university, it's an amazing facility. I always tell people that the University of Arizona is the best public-private school that you can pick for your child, because having gone and visited with private schools, I don't see that they held anything that would make me or her think that this wasn't the right place for her. So just get involved with the journey, and then obviously when they get there, be involved, because that way you can have that parallel journey with your child as they go through the university of their choice.
Great advice.
And it should be the U of A.
Kevin, any last words, anything I missed that you wanted to share, or your advice?
Well, I'm also the parent of a current U of A honors student, and she's getting ready to graduate this May, so that's very exciting stuff. And I would say
Congratulations.
that your students are obviously very accomplished. They've been academically successful. They've done great things. They're involved across their high schools, and they're most likely going to be involved across the U of A as well. And I would just say that um, let your students expand themselves a little bit, let them pursue the things that they're interested in pursuing, and don't be afraid for your students to make mistakes either, or things that are commonly perceived as mistakes. Sometimes we see that with students who challenge themselves and push themselves a little bit in different directions, that they can stumble a bit, and that's hard sometimes for students who have done really well in high school, and when they get to college, which hopefully will be at U of A, it can be a little bit of a shock sometimes. But don't be afraid of that. Your students are going to do great. They're going to be successful. They're going to be accomplished, and they're going to go out and do great things after they graduate as well. So don't be afraid of bumps in the road along the way.
That's great advice as well. Thank
Yeah,
you.
if I could dovetail on that really quick, my daughter has experienced those little bit of bumps in that, hey, maybe your schedule is a little bit too hard. No, 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 dad, mom, I can handle it. Oh my God, my classwork is, so, and there were some situations that basically didn't turn out necessarily the way she wanted, but she has made adjustments and now is headed in a better path. And I think, like you said, Kevin, mistakes, it seems like you learn so much more from mistakes than your successes. When she was
Yep.
competing, her losses is where she learned the most from versus her victories. Because whenever it's a victory, it's just a real easy accolade. And when you make a mistake, it's that introspection that you have to do and say, okay, what do I have to do next time in order not to be in the same situation? So really good advice.
That learning moment, I agree.
Absolutely.
Well, Roger, Kevin, I thank you both for your time, for sharing your knowledge and expertise. I appreciate both of you, and I thank all of our guests who have joined us this afternoon to learn more about the Honors College. And you have our contact information on the screen, so if you have any follow-up questions. I also wanted to share that these sessions are being recorded, and they will be on our website, which is on the screen right now, probably by tomorrow morning. So just check the events tab, and you can see the previous session recording, today's session, and then you can sign up for future sessions with us. Thank you, Roger. Thank you, Kevin. And thank you to
And
all of
Anna
our
Marie,
guests.
if I may, if anybody wants to communicate through you to me, I know sometimes parents like to talk to parents. I know I found that really helpful. Know that I am available for that and it'd be a pleasure to discuss anything that a parent might want to do one-on-one.
I appreciate that, Roger. So you can reach out to me directly and I will put them in contact with you. Is that
Yeah, just
okay
like
to
we
say?
have in the past. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Great. So if you want to chat with Roger, just reach out to myself and I'll get you connected with them. Thank you, Kevin. Thank you, Roger. Hope you all have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks, Anna Marie. This
See you,
was great. Thank
Kevin.
you.
Bye, Anna Marie.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.